Folks, I got these two tractors side by side this morning. They've been sitting what I would call outside. We're in this shelter logic with both doors open. It's 23 degrees this morning. I thought it'd be a great time for us to show you a cold start with both of these tractors side by side. Let's get started. Yeah, we're going to go through the starting techniques specified in the manual for each of these tractors. We just thought it would be informative because there are differences. None of these are going to be showstoppers as to I would buy this one or I would buy this one because of this. That's really not where we're headed. We just thought maybe it'd be interesting to show some of the subtle differences between the tractors, how the ignition switches work different. But before we do that, I thought it would be good to talk just a little bit about this. We shook a lot of people up by getting this orange tractor, and yes, we bought it with our own money. There is no sponsorship involved at all. So some people are saying, "Oh, you're going orange. You know, I'm not going to watch you anymore because you're not green anymore. You're going to have orange." Or other folks are saying, "Yeah, you're orange now. I'm going to watch you. I didn't watch you before because you were green." Well, we're not going orange exclusively. We were never green exclusively. This is just who we are. We love to compare these machines. I love tractors. Yes, we do have a relationship with our local Deere dealer that they've provided us this machine for a couple of years here, and hopefully we get to keep it or one like it going forward for more time. We don't want to change that, but we think it's valuable to you guys to show you some objective comparisons, objective reviews, as well as just be able to answer your questions. I get all kinds of questions from all brands of tractors, and sometimes my answers are a little less knowledgeable because I just don't have the experience. Borrowing a tractor for a week or two or a month for a demo is really hardly enough for me to understand some of the intricacies. It's easy to see the good features in a little bit of time. It's hard to see some of the irritating features perhaps in a short time. And so with each machine, it just takes longer. And so we decided to make this investment. Another point here that we heard in these comments was, oh, it's because of the logo thing that Deere's legal team did to you. It's not, okay? We have been thinking a long time about trying to figure out a way that we could get tractors of different color on the channel without being beholden to a sponsor. So that we could speak freely. And again, our Deere dealer has been totally flexible with that. You've seen our videos. We speak freely on this tractor, on Johnny 5, on the Gator. So that's not been a problem. We were not able to negotiate anything like that with Kubota or, to date, any other manufacturer. They want to control the content. They want us to say certain things or behave in a certain way on our videos, and we're just not willing to do that. So we've bought it with our own money. Special thanks to Neil Messick for working with us. He was a lot of fun, and go back and check out that video if you have a chance. Okay, let's get into some detail. I'm looking at the manual here, and initially I'm a little bit confused. I couldn't figure out why I'm seeing different ignition startup mechanisms here for presumably the same tractor. I think I finally got it figured out a little bit. This manual is for the LX2610 and the LX3310, and I believe it's showing two different approaches for the key. There's 4 positions on the 2610. There's 3 positions on the switch for the 3310, which we have. On the 2610, you have to manually hold the key in what they call the preheat position, and you have to determine the time that you need to hold it. It gives a chart here. It says if it's above 23 Fahrenheit, it's 5 seconds. If it's between 5 and 23, it's 10 seconds. And from what I read later, it appears that they're recommending a block heater for anything below 5 degrees, which probably makes sense. For the 3310, I believe it's a little bit more automated. I can simply turn the key to the on position, and the preheater will come on and stay on until it's warm. So it actually has a thermometer and some electronics probably to control how long that preheater or the glow plugs actually stay on. So the GoPro says it's recording, but the screen's not on. We'll see if we have anything. We only have one shot at this, so I want to show it to you with two cameras. We typically don't get a camera in the way like this, but since we only have one shot, we'll go. So I'm going to turn the key to the on position. The preheat light went off, and then it came back on. We'll wait till that turns off, and then we'll start it. You can hear the fuel pump. Seems like a pretty long time to me. Here it goes. Now it's beeping, and on the dash here it says it's cold. Should only be a few more seconds of beeping from my experience last night when I tried this. There it goes. It's all done. Okay, it's running smoothly now. There's probably nothing to see here. I'll rev it up a little bit. In this case, the fuel pump runs a little after we turn the machine off. I found this to be smooth. It automatically raised the RPMs a little bit until it got started, and then it lowered them back to where we had the throttle set, which was on idle. And I find that interesting, and I think that will be an interesting segue to what happens on the 2038R. Let's go over there. Okay, the manual for the 2038R has a different instruction. We were able to start the 3310. We put the throttle at idle, and then it managed that entry RPMs. When it first started up, it raised the RPMs, you could hear that, and then it lowered them back down. Apparently, the Deere doesn't have that feature, so they want you to raise the throttle yourself to roughly mid-throttle. This is not how I have been taught to start an engine. We were always taught to start at idle because there's no oil flowing, and we felt that it would be harder on the engine to go at a higher RPM right there initially while there's no oil flowing. But apparently the manufacturer wants you to do it this way, and it's interesting that the Kubota actually went the extra step to automatically raise those RPMs for just a few seconds. So that's what we'll do here. So we'll raise the throttle to half throttle, and one thing I notice about the Deere is the key position is significantly different. It's in the middle. It's right down here. The 1025R has a problem of the key switch being right where your knee wants to hit it. This tractor does not have that issue. I turn it on and I wait. Now I can start it. Okay, I didn't have it to half throttle clearly, but it started right up too. I noticed that the preheat was not as long on this tractor. I didn't even have time to be long-winded at all in my discussion of the startup before the preheat light went out. And as soon as the preheat light went out, I knew I had to start it. So sorry for the interruption there. The start seemed to be clean. It did seem to be a little bit faster. If you've been around a Deere 1 Series much, you know that it runs really rough after a startup in this cold weather, maybe for 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Didn't experience that on this tractor. On the LX3310, we'll check back at the video to see how long it ran rough, but it was only maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds. It wasn't very long at all. I think you're going to find that both of these larger machines are in a totally different class from an engine standpoint than the subcompact tractors. Of course, people like to refer to it as a negative because of the DPF and the extra ECU or engine control unit electronics that have to be involved with that DPF. But overall, these engines are a lot more refined. I'm not saying anything specific about green or orange. I'm just saying both of them are a lot more refined than a subcompact tractor. Overall, I think you will find these machines, as we go through a lot of comparisons, you'll find this level and this class of machine to be much better, I would say, or much more refined, much more capable than a subcompact tractor. There's just a huge step in this particular transition between subcompactor and these 30 to 35 horsepower high-featured tractors. It's been cold ever since we've got home from Pennsylvania with this tractor, and so we were not able to wash it here. We don't have any indoor wash station. We did take it to an indoor truck wash and had it washed. So I believe we got most of the salt off of it. I see a couple of places where I see maybe just like a little 1-inch square or half-inch square where a little corrosion on maybe a hose or something, but I suspect we can even get that off with a little bit of effort. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with how it survived the trip. I really was not looking forward to all the salt, and I'm happy that we haven't done any permanent damage with that. Diesel engines and cold starting. They've come a long way. I'm stunned that I can come out in the 20s and start these engines very, very quickly. Both of the brands, they're fabulous. The old Olivers that we have, I got some Oliver fans that watch this channel. Our old 1950T is very difficult to start in the cold. The batteries have to be perfect. We have to use starting fluid. A lot of times we have to jump the tractor even when it's got good batteries, just because it's that hard to start. So diesel engines have come a long ways. We are the beneficiaries of that as consumers. For this size tractor, most of us do have to use them in the winter, right? We're using them for hauling wood. We're using them for snow removal. So it's not something we could avoid. I think if you saw Tom in the live stream a few nights ago, he said, well, we just don't start our tractors when it's this cold. And that makes perfect sense on the farm. They can allow them to rest for the winter, but we can't get away with that when we're using these smaller utility tractors. So I'm glad they start really well. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. You're going to see a lot more of this kind of comparison stuff. We're not trying to push one or the other. We're just kind of showing you a few differences, and you know, might be informative to you, might be helpful. I think these two tractors are going to be a good match for each other as far as just how they line up. This one's got a little bit more horsepower, but it's the same frame, and the rest of the capacities are identical to the 2032R, which would be almost identical horsepower to this. So I think they're going to be close enough that we can make this work and work well. If you like orange, welcome to our channel. If you like green, stay with our channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. My fingers are so frozen I can't get this to turn off.
Oh boy.
I think it froze. There it goes. Man, I'm cold. My fingers are cold.
Yeah, it's really cold today.